Now, on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
6:07 on this election day in the Commonwealth of Virginia, as well as New Jersey, New York City, and other jurisdictions. It's O'Connor and Company here in your nation's capital. Coming up in 30 minutes, Matthew Hurtt, chairman of the Republican Party in Arlington County. At 7:05, Matthew's counterpart, Jacob Alderman in Prince William County. At 7:35, the fine governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia, Glenn Youngkin. And then at 8:05, John Hishta of AARP. It's Larry O'Connor with Julie Gunlock, not quite yet, of AARP. Good morning, Julie.
Barely. Good morning.
Good morning to you. You are actually, obviously, as everyone knows, with the mighty, wonderful, incredible, almost flawless independent women.
Why, thank you.
Independent Women's Forum, Independent Women's Voice, Independent Women's Action
Network.
No. Network. Thank you. There's a lot of independent women things going on there. And I'm still learning the new branding of independent women, period. You'd think I'd know that
So
by
am I.
now, being surrounded by all the independent women. That said, you guys have been at the forefront, independent women that is, have been at the forefront of pushing back against the outrageous, unscientific, unhealthy, dangerous anti-woman policies that the woke left, led by Human Rights Campaign and other LGBTQ plus activist groups, have been pushing on our society. California, I think, represents quite possibly the most destructive state in the union with regard to the policies and laws that have been put in place. And it really, really was represented yesterday by a viral moment at a Gold's Gym. Now, Gold's Gym, for those who don't know, is known for sort of hardcore weightlifting workouts. This is not some, little curves jazzercise kind of place. Like, if you're going there, I'm just saying, if you're going there for a real, hard body workout. That includes the women who go there, by the way. These are some impressive, women who are focused on really getting serious about their exercise and their workouts and their lifting and all that stuff. And so an African-American woman, after her workout, went into the locker room, and this black woman saw a dude staring at her. Yeah. And you look at the picture of this. It's a dude with an earring, which, by the way, in L.A., it's, No, it's not even Klinger. Klinger actually wore a dress,
True. Well, this guy was wearing women's athletic wear, a sports bra and these little shorts. He, was definitely trying to look like he was dressing up. He was playing dress up like a woman in workout gear.
She was angry. She is fed up. She had it. And so she went out and complained. Here's a little bit of the viral video, cut 10.
Gold's Gym! Men! Grown men with big in the women's locker room. And that's why I'm getting kicked out. And I want to make sure the girls know. Everybody saw that man in the locker room. No one's saying and I'm done with it. It's stupid. It's dangerous. Me naked in front of a man without my permission. I'm the one who gets kicked out the gym, y'all. I'm terminated for not wanting men in the locker room.
So I think it's important to say Gold's Gym terminated her membership.
That's right. She got kicked out because she complained.
Yes, and I see what you were saying. There's no doubting that this was a guy. I mean, this was clearly a man. And he was staring at her in the locker room. She's the one who's hurt here. She's the one who's scared and traumatized. And Gold's Gym punishes her. She didn't start yelling until they told her to get out and your membership is canceled. That's why she was upset.
And Gold's Gym, of course, does this because it's their policy, but it's framed by the laws in the state of California and the litigious nature of lawyers in California who will exploit those laws. I do blame Gold's Gym, but I also recognize that Gold's Gym operating in that environment, I'm sure they have lawyers that say, guys, we have no choice.
But, okay, first of all, Gold's Gym was following the law of California, but Gold's Gym then kicked out the woman who was offended. And, it would be really nice if the executives at Gold Gym could grow a spine and say, this policy, we are trying to follow the letter of the law here, but this policy is putting our female members at great risk. They are upset. They are traumatized. We need changes here. Do they stand up for women? No. They kicked her out. They want it all to go away.
A little bit more from her. And you could tell the anguish.
Yes.
And cut 11. Take a listen.
Stay out of the women's locker room. We don't want it. He needs to have his gym membership revoked for that. And the woman told you. He assaulted me. The girl told already. You can't get rid of me for this. I'm a woman and I have every right to not want a man in the restroom when I'm naked. There are girls naked in there. Look at them walking in there like it's okay. It's not okay.
The person's been identified. Her name is Tish Hyman, 42 years old, native of Bronx, and she's a singer-songwriter out there in Southern California trying to pursue her art and pursue her dream. And it's just outrageous.
I also want to say in the video, you watch it, this man who's entering the women's locker room is so arrogant.
Yeah.
He does not care. He turns his back on this woman. He rolls his eyes. He's just like, and you know what? Because he knows that Gold's Gym, the leadership of Gold's Gym, are a bunch of cowards, spineless cowards who will not stick up for this woman. They know that the law is on his side. And so he's acting like, hey, I'm not the one at fault here.
Yeah.
But again, this woman and many women now have to change clothes. They have to get naked in front of men who leer at them. Because that was her complaint, too. He was staring at her.
That's right. She also said, she put an Instagram post up with her, she did like a selfie video in her car. We're bleeping it. So as soon as that's prepared, we will play it later in the program if we have to. But she claimed in that post that she and other women at the gym had filed multiple written reports about this man coming into the women's locker room and harassing them. And so here's, and you're, everything you've said obviously is spot on and correct. And I want to reiterate that on a national level, Independent Women, the organization that Julie has dedicated so many years to, has really been fighting this. You know, so many times politicians get away with, like Gavin Newsom did in California, the state that allowed this to happen and encouraged this to happen. He'll say, well, yeah, obviously it's just, you know, it's not fair for men to compete in women's sports against. You're right, yes, but this goes way deeper than just fairness on the field of play. Okay, these policies affect this woman and other women like this on a psychological, emotional level. And by the way, it puts them in danger. These are the policies that Human Rights Campaign and every Democrat running for office, why Abigail Spanberger won't speak out against it. And Gavin Newsom celebrates these policies and will take them national. Here's what people don't understand, Julie, and maybe you can explain it to us. Obviously, California has set up a situation where it would be illegal or discriminatory to keep this man from the women's locker room. But it is also illegal for a man to – this is harassment. This is sexual assault, actually, in one sense of the term sexual assault. If I, as a heterosexual – and by the way, this guy could be heterosexual for all we know. Just because he dresses up like a woman, he could be sexually attracted to other women. If I, a man attracted to women, go into the Gold's Gym locker room and sit there and stare at the naked women as they're showering, I would be arrested, and appropriately so. How can both of these laws exist at the same time?
Because
and why do they then defer to the man?
Look, I know we have to get to Jamie, but I will say it very quickly.
Well, then pause. It's worth it, and it's my fault for setting up the question with so little time, just because it's worth it. I want to get to it, because that's what everyone's asking. 6:15, WMAL.
WMAL, making sense of the news. Live from the Home Paramount Pest Control Studios. Home Paramount, the leader in pest control since 1939.
I talk about this a lot on this program and have done for many, 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 many years. There's a deterioration of our culture and our society and our basic civil discourse and Western civilizational values that we've all seen going on here, Julie. And And one of the most detrimental things is when the average, everyday citizen of the United States of America feels powerless, feels like the laws do not protect them or represent them anymore. It's that feeling after an election where you feel like you don't know if it was, actually done on the up and up and legally. That is deteriorating to our process. And when laws aren't applied, basic normal laws are not applied appropriately. And what happens is people get so disgusted by the current society that they're living in. They get so angry, so frustrated, so powerless that ultimately, as Americans, we want to take that power back. And I say this with great caution, but if men are allowed to do this and endanger women, endanger people's wives, sisters, and daughters in a locker room like this and sexually assault them, because I'm sorry that it is a form of sexual assault to go in and intrude on naked women and look at them with lustful and lascivious purposes. If they're allowed to do that, somebody's going to get harmed. Somebody is going to take the law into their own hands.
Well, yes, but they have. Look, look at the anguish in this woman's voice. Look at the anguish on her face. Women have been harmed, and I get what you're saying that someone's going to take.
No, what I'm saying is the perpetrators, the law and the state are not protecting the women.
I know,
and women are not going to roll over, and their husbands. Fathers are not going to roll over and just take that anymore. So what happens when you talk to a lawmaker? When you say, listen, there are men going in and they're assaulting these women, what do they say back to you?
Look, I mean, Republicans, by and large, are totally appalled, right? And Democrats aren't, because they are beholden. They have gone so far left. Larry, there are men in women's prisons. Women in prison are being raped. They're getting pregnant because of these men who pretend to be women so that they can go into a women's prison. They are raping these prisoners. Talk about cruel and unusual punishment, and that's another thing that IW has covered quite extensively, talking to former women who were in jail, housed with transgender incarcerated individuals. Look, the bottom line is that the minute we know this, the minute you identify as transgender, the feelings of women are set aside. And we see this in schools. If a boy wants to walk into a transgender identifying boy wants to walk into a girl's bathroom, his feelings are paramount. We know about the intersectional ladder. The higher you are on the intersectional ladder, if you're a woman, if you're a person of color, if you're disabled, whatever, okay, your feelings are paramount. And this has happened over and over again with the transgender issue. And we see this in sports. Look, you don't see a lot of transgender identifying, women who now identify as male, going out for the football team. It's because these men can overtake women. They're stronger. So you see a lot of the men invading women's sports, and women are supposed to just take it. We saw that with Riley Gaines. We've seen it over and over again. You're supposed to set aside your feelings for this transgender identifying male, or female who's a male. Isn't it confusing?
And it's my fault for not being clear on the question. You have two laws. One law says you have to make these facilities accessible to transgender individuals. You have another law that says a woman should not be compelled to disrobe.
Because they are considered a woman. They are considered women under the law in California. These men who it's so humorous to look at this guy who looks like Al Pacino, by the way, strutting around. He was strutting around that women's locker room. And he was leering at these women. That's why this woman is in such distress. She's like, I don't want to be in a bathroom with this guy, and you all are allowing it. And the reason is, Larry, the minute you identify as transgender, you are the sex you've chosen. So under California law, this guy strutting around he's a woman. To these Gold's Gym employees, he's a woman. Now, we know this is a lie, okay? But we all have to sort of engage in this insanity, right?
And to Abigail Spanberger, he's a woman. To Gavin Newsom, he's a woman.
He is a woman. He is a woman. Under the law, the minute he said, I'm a woman, he's a woman. Because, you go to these college campuses and you ask kids, like, what is what is a woman? And they say, we have a Supreme Court justice who answered, whatever you want to be, whatever. I want to be a turtle today, so I'm a turtle. I mean, this is where we're at. And the ultimate losers are women and girls.
Yep.
And that's the reason they are, again, it's literally taking that you can be whatever you want to be to the extreme.
As you know, I'm not a violent person. I see this woman's pain. I see her fear. I hear her
horrible.
Anguish.
Yep.
I want to punch someone.
It's also the idea that she is screaming. She's in the Gold's Gym. She's on the Gold's Gym floor.
Right.
And she's saying, I've been kicked out. I don't want to be naked in front. She is screaming. She is appealing. What I watched in that video, and I encourage everyone to do it, there was no movement among these people. These California people, they just were looking at her and kind of going about their day. One woman was standing probably 5 feet from her and never turned around to look at her. Just let this woman who's in clear anguish, just let her rant. It was terrible. People are just absolute robots in California that they allow this to happen.
Yeah, and as has been said before, and it should be said again since it's Election Day, these are all the policies embraced by the Democrats in Virginia. It will be California without the palm trees. 6:23. Coming up, our Election Day coverage continues. Polls about to open. Matthew Hurtt, chairman of the Republican Party in Arlington, will join us. Keep it here. It's O'Connor and Company.
WMAL-FM, Woodbridge, Washington, a Cumulus media station. Making sense of the news. News Talk 105.9. News now. Now, on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
6:37 this Election Day. Across the fruited plain, and certainly right here in the Commonwealth of Virginia, we got you covered here on O'Connor and Company and on WMAL all through the evening. At 7:05, Jacob Alderman, the chairman of the Prince William County GOP Committee. At 7:35, the governor of Virginia, Glenn Youngkin. And at 8:05, John Hishta of AARP. It's Larry O'Connor with Julie Gunlock. Good morning, Julie.
Good morning.
Let's welcome a friend of the program, Matthew Hurtt. He's the chairman of the Republican Party in Arlington County, and he likes to mix it up on Election Day. Usually, if he's doing his job right, some crazy leftist Democrat driving a beat-up Prius tries to punch him in the face. All right, Matthew, are you just in case people don't remember? Here, take a listen. Cut 12 here.
You try to overthrow elections with violence, and then you're out here among decent people.
Thanks for
coming out.
out there.
What do you have to say that, huh? What are your policy prescriptions?
Have a nice day.
Rapist rights.
Yeah.
Involving yourself in people's families and their
joining us now is the aforementioned racist Matthew Hurtt. Matthew, are you expecting some more fireworks today on Election Day?
Larry, Julie, it's great to be with you. I have been sequestered in the office this morning since about 4 o'clock. However, I have deputized about a dozen young Republicans across Arlington who are out at the polls this morning and across the day. And I've told them, like I said many, many times, the best thing about an angry leftist voter going into the polls is they have to come out. And they're going to come out the same door. And so you can prepare. I did a tutorial all day yesterday. I was talking to a lot of our volunteers. Becky, unfortunately, is the wonderful volunteer who is at Dawson Terrace this morning, which is where that gentleman votes. But it is exciting what the Arlington Republicans have done in the lead up to this election.
Well, and listen, I hope that the training that you gave all of these volunteers includes, and then send the clip to O'Connor and Company, WMAL. That's the important part of this after putting it out. I am worried, though, because let's face it, Abigail Spanberger, the leader of the Democrat ticket in Virginia, has told all of her voters that she wants them to let their rage fuel them. Let your rage fuel you was the battle cry of Abigail Spanberger. This is when Jay Jones takes things a little too seriously there with that admonition. And then, of course, Arlington is where that woman had the racist sign against Winsome Sears threatening Jim Crow laws if she doesn't let men into women's locker rooms. So things are dicey in Arlington, Matthew, but it seems like you've made pretty good inroads considering the uphill battle.
It is so exciting, and I love my intolerant, progressive, and leftist neighbors. The last thing, over the weekend, Arlington Republicans sent out 15,000 mail pieces talking about let your rage fuel you. Over the course of the last 45 days, we have mailed 62,000 pieces of mail, 75,000 text messages to voters, thousands of doors knocked and sample ballots distributed, postcards written, and apartment units lit dropped. I've seen more energy and enthusiasm among Arlington Republicans this year than we saw last year in 2024. And so we are in the cradle of rage, as the mail piece that hit thousands of mailboxes over the weekend says. We are the cradle of rage, and it's time for us to push back. And I'm so excited. Larry, what you and the cradle of rage. But it gives us a tremendous opportunity. A lot of your listeners, they're driving into work or they're listening, and they know that Northern Virginia is full of far left progressives, and it is more important in a community like Arlington or Fairfax or Alexandria City or Loudoun County for us to be organized. And that is why I do what I wake up every day at 5 o'clock. And I get this committee going, and our volunteers are the best, our donors and supporters and members are the best, and I'm excited.
Well, Matthew, you mentioned the energy that you and your members have, and part of that might just be because they're not average age of 80. We have noticed that, the nursing homes just empty out whenever there's a rally or something with Don Beyer or Walkinshaw. It is really amazing to look at the crowds and see how many very elderly white people there are. Tell us about the Arlington GOP and the type of member. I suspect it's a lot younger.
Well, what is really cool, we do have lovely octogenarian members and volunteers, and I love them, and they do a lot of great work.
I consider myself one, okay? I'm older, I'm not, this is not, but it is remarkable.
Glass houses.
When you, I don't mean to be insulting to, the older people, but it really is amazing when you scan those crowds that are at these No Kings rallies or at Spanberger rallies, and they really are older. It just tells you something, and I suspect that's not the same for the GOP.
Well, and I do know, Julie, you've received your AARP membership card, but in the Arlington GOP, we do skew younger and we do skew diverse. Now, the average voter in Arlington is a 50-year-old, short-haired, progressive white woman, and we are not
with
that
big
at all.
glasses.
I'm with big glasses and several cats. But we have a crew that ranges in age. I even had the Georgetown University College Republicans cross the river, the moat, a couple of weekends ago to knock doors with us. It is an exciting group of people, a wide range of diversity of backgrounds and socioeconomic experiences and all of this. And it's because living so close to D.C. and in such a progressive community, there are so many common sense people in Arlington, and we are the voice for those individuals. I will channel anybody's energy into any project that they can do. If you can write postcards, if you can knock doors, if you can stand out on Clarendon Day, our biggest festival of the year, all of these opportunities, and our meetings are fun. 10 years ago when I first got involved in the Arlington GOP, it felt like you were waiting in the doctor's office for a colonoscopy. And now the meetings are punchy and exciting, and they don't run 3 or 4 hours. It's super exciting stuff, and I'm high energy all the time. It's like a little mini stand-up show.
Arlington, the cradle of far-left rage. That's where you want to start pushing back day by day, little by little. And let's see what the turnout's like today on Election Day. I know you've got your work cut out for you, so good luck. I know you've been working hard, Matthew, so congratulations getting to Election Day. And now let's bring it home. Well done, sir.
Thanks so much, guys.
You bet. And I want to remind you, his counterpart in Prince William County, Jacob Alderman, he's going to be joining us coming up at 7:05. So make sure you're here for that.
WMAL's Vince Colonnese, weekdays at noon on 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the news.
Well, we have some sad news, the passing of former Vice President Dick Cheney at the age of 84. Dick Cheney, of course, a Washington, D.C. stalwart. He goes all the way back to the Ford administration, chief of staff for President Gerald Ford. He has passed away this morning. He, of course, will always be remembered as the loyal vice president to George W. Bush and was fairly or unfairly sort of targeted and identified as the architect of the global war on terror. There was sort of a caricature created about Dick Cheney that he was a warmonger and it was all for profiteering, the Michael Moores of the world. And sadly, these days, others who will buy into that caricature, they sort of talked George W. Bush into the war. I don't know how much of that is accurate, but he was certainly very much in favor of the post 9/11 response that we needed to take the war to our enemies rather than wait once again for them to bring the war home here. Rightly or wrongly, that will always be his legacy, and he has now passed away. But boy, the Cheneys, between Dick and his wife and his children, they have left a mark on Washington, D.C., that's for sure, and continue to do so.
Yeah, indeed. And sort of strange, Dick Cheney's reversal sort of at the end of his life and saying that he was going to vote for Kamala, just a strange sort of, I think a lot of us were sort of scratching our heads going, what, the world has turned upside down. Obviously, I think this had something to do with obviously Liz Cheney and the January 6th trials that she oversaw. So I think if some of us felt like he was a little bit taken advantage of, put in front of a camera, and sort of stumping for Kamala. That was, to me, unfortunate. But
I agree.
I also found it really fascinating that he became the darling of the left when he was pilloried and really harassed for years by the left. And so, again, one of these just bizarre things where, people just reversed course due to Trump.
He was beyond pilloried, though, and in fact, listen,
I know.
I didn't know how much I necessarily liked Dick Cheney or not, but the vitriolic hatred toward Dick Cheney and the again characterizing him as Darth
Hollywood
Vader
movies making fun of him. Yes.
Oh, it immediately made me want to defend him. Because
exactly.
nobody deserves that kind of attack, and again, no one is perfect, and he certainly made policy missteps along the way, absolutely. But to suggest that he was some sort of bloodthirsty warmonger who wanted innocent people murdered for the profit of the corporations that he represented, I think was always a despicable mischaracterization of a person who I think, you put yourself in that position to respond to 9/11 and see how you do. His legacy is amazing, though, when you think about it. Again, Chief of Staff for President Gerald Ford, then Member of Congress for Wyoming, in that at-large seat, which, by the way, is a statewide district, right?
Mm-hmm.
From
like
79 to 89. Then he was Secretary of Defense for President George Herbert Walker Bush, then CEO of Halliburton. And then he was brought in to advise George W. Bush on the running mate selection, and it turned out he was the selection and was vice president.
And you know who his
for 8
chief
years.
of staff was, Larry? Who was Cheney's chief of staff?
Whose?
Remember?
No.
Bill Kristol.
Oh, I thought, he was Dan Quayle's chief of staff.
Oh my gosh, am I wrong? Oh,
I'm sorry.
Really? Are you sure? Okay.
Yeah.
No.
By the time, he was already, Crystal
It
was already.
fit together so well.
Fox News and Weekly Standard there toward the end.
Okay.
Do not quite that
Sorry
bad.
to confuse that.
Also, by the way, one thing that will be noteworthy here on the passing of Dick Cheney, we will all be hearing his full name, and I had no idea his middle name was Bruce. Bruce.
Seems like a strange.
Doesn't it?
Is it Richard Bruce?
Richard Bruce Cheney, yeah.
Bruce is not a middle name.
Also, oldest living former vice president, and that includes Joe Biden. He is 3 years older than Joseph Robinette. So now Biden is the oldest living former vice president and oldest living former president, I believe.